Hello, this is Brad from SurvivalComms, and today I'm going to show you probably the world's most durable Android device, and it's now available for Verizon, the Sonim XP8. This is going to be a short video, and let me preface this by saying I'm not a device guy. There's a device for me as a tool, but I do always get ruggedized devices because I'm murder on these things. I drop them, and I'm always looking for a better mousetrap. And those of you in the same boat as I am will probably appreciate this device. These devices have been around for a while. AT&T's had them out for a while, and they're marketed mostly as a Band 14 enabled FirstNet device, and we won't go down the FirstNet rabbit hole. Now that Verizon's rolled these out, it's a lot more practical for me because AT&T coverage in my particular area isn't all that hot. Rather than just regurgitate the specifications while I'm holding the device in my hand, I printed out the data sheet for the device, and we can go ahead and read this here. And this is basically talking about the computer here with the 630 octa-core 2.2 gig processor. It's got 4 gig of RAM, 64 gig of ROM, and it supports up to 128 gigabyte micro SD card. And the same here with the connectivity specifications here. And also, what's really cool about this device is that it has almost a 5 amp hour battery, a 4900 milliamp hour replaceable removable battery, and the batteries are relatively inexpensive. They're somewhere in the neighborhood of $25, and that's retail for a battery pack for one of these devices. And then the charging port on this right here, as provided from the manufacturer, is a USB-C port. And here are our physical characteristics, and we'll go over this stuff in more detail when we talk about the ports and the keys, etc. Comparison-wise, this is my Kyocera Duraforce that this device, the XP8, replaced. And you can see, form factor-wise, they're pretty much very close in the same size with one another. Weight-wise, this device weighs about 12 ounces, and this one here weighs about 9 ounces. So there is a little bit of additional weight with this device, and it's certainly not a lightweight device. Let's take a moment to talk about the rugged certifications here. When you look here at non-incentive Class 1, Division 2, groups A, B, C, and D, what that means is in an area where you store flammable liquids or gases, it's safe to use. You're not going to walk into an acetylene cloud, though, using your device. It's not certified for that. And then when you look at Class 2 and 3, Division 2 groups, F and G, that's basically combustible particulates and fibers, etc. Mil Standard 810G is a drop test type of certification, and IP68, IP69 is ingress protection from dust and liquid, meaning the 6 is dust proof, and the 8 essentially means the device is considered to be submersible. There is a video on YouTube where a guy actually takes one of these devices and places it into a pot of boiling water for a minute while it's powered up, and it survived it. So that's pretty impressive in my book. Display-wise, it's a 5-inch display. It's a Gorilla Glass 3 display. Again, in another video, they've had people taking nails in the sort and scratching against the display, and the display handles that kind of abuse admirably. Now, looking at the audio side of things, the speaker, when you look at this right here, it says dual front-facing loudspeakers, output of 100 dB+. This thing has buku audio. I mean, it's unbelievable how loud the device is. I run it about 25%, and that is more than enough. So in a high-noise environment, that audio would be invaluable to those of you who are operating this device in a speakerphone capacity or using a push-to-talk app. The device also features a built-in FM radio tuner. However, I haven't been able to test that yet because I'm still waiting for my 3.5mm audio adapter that will plug into the secure audio connector that inhibits the operation of that FM radio app unless you have that plugged into it. And it may be that it's using the earpiece adapter, the cable, as an antenna. I'm not quite sure yet, but we'll figure that out once I get that in. And you can see that it has 2 cameras. It has a 12 megapixel regular camera, and your front facing camera is an 8 megapixel camera. The device is marketed as being able to be operated with gloves, and I certainly find that to be the case. It is a little bit clumsy to manipulate everything, but as you can see, can use the device with these gloves. On the left side of the device we have our power button. We have a push to talk button, which is for various push to talk apps. There's a plethora of them out there, so pick your poison. But I've got this particular, I've got Zello in it, and it works just fine using that as push to talk. And then you have your volume controls here. On the right side of the device, what we have here is an emergency button. And we have this programmable button here, which is currently configured for the camera, which a long key press brings up the camera. And this is what they call the secure audio connector, which looks a lot like a universal connector in the size of a portable radio. And what this does is this allows you to interface various audio accessories to the device itself. They make speaker microphones and they make adapters. I've just ordered the one for the 3.5 millimeter jack, so I can plug in a standard hands-free set into this and also tie this into my HF radio for using for digital modes. But that right there just has a centrally located post that will secure the connector to this secure audio connector. So that provides a nice weather-tight connection to whatever peripheral devices you intend to use. On the back side of the device here, you can see your 12 megapixel camera. You can see your light and flash, which has like a Fresnel lens type of, which I don't know if you can see that in the camera. You have a lanyard loop, which is nice. You can tie a little piece of cordage around here, like dummy cord, and then tie something else to it, or hook it to a small carabiner, so if you want to tether it to yourself to prevent yourself from dropping it. Moving away, we can see that the cover is retained with a screw. These two pins here are charging pins. The device has a drop-in charger available for it. It's about $200, and they do make a bank type charger for like an organization environment to where you'd have to charge multiples. Battery pack is a 4900 milliamp hour pack, or basically almost a 5 amp hour pack in a device that's pretty doggone impressive, and I'm pretty stoked about that. The device has a single SD card slot and has dual SIMs. Now, I'm just using the single SIM, and this is the Verizon device. At the bottom of the device is our USB-C connector. The charger that comes with it is one that just plugs into the USB-C connector, and you can see it's got your typical O-ring arrangement here. And of course, opening and closing this connection is ultimately going to compromise the integrity of this seal here. So if you were interested in preserving the watertight integrity for the lifetime of the device, or the service life of the device, it would behoove you to purchase the drop-in charger. At the top of the device we have what's called the expand connector. The expand connector essentially allows this device to attach to other peripherals. In previous generations of their product line, there's been barcode scanners you can go to it, and other accessories of that nature. Interestingly enough, they do make a attachment that basically is known as the direct mode for the XP8, which is it's a 900 megahertz spread spectrum ISM band radio that attaches to the top of the device, and it's retained by these two screws here. It has a small antenna, and what it does is it allows this device to operate as a standalone radio. So off network you would have a small radio to go to it. It's like $250 per unit for one of those. There's a device under development that attaches the expand connector for this, and it's called the SLED, which, if I remember correctly, stands for the Sonim LMR expansion device. But essentially what it does is it uses the device itself as the heart of an LMR radio, so it makes the device much larger, of course. And what it does is it is a VHF, UHF, or a 700-800 megahertz radio. It can operate as a throwdown ad hoc gateway. There's a few other interesting things that it's capable of, but as I said before, it's still being developed right now. And here's the article in the SLED right here, and you can see it in this guy's hand here. And like I said, there is a video on it here that you can check out. What's nice is the devices are covered by a 3-year limited warranty, and from what I understand, the warranty is no joke. They actually are pretty good at taking care of you. But you can look at the website here and gives you all the details. Interesting information here is it says that they are designed to minimize the intrusion of dust and can be submerged in water up to 6.5 feet deep for up to 30 minutes. They are also shock resistant and can withstand occasional drops up to 6.5 feet, 2 meters. And while our phones are tough, they are not indestructible. Well, I hope this video has given you some useful insight into the Sonim XP8. And this is the most excited I've been about an Android device in a long time. So I hope this helps. This is Brett from SurvivalComms. Till next time.